Distortion electric guitar. This is the AI Music Encyclopedia, the complete prompt guide for AI music generation. So, how much does a distortion spec actually change an AI-generated song? Let's find out.
We are looking at the variable of the distortion electric guitar. Our sub-specifications are high-gain distortion, hard clipping saturation, a tight aggressive tone, and a precise attack. The single change we're making here is the tone, moving from overdrive to distortion. Our objective? To observe exactly how moving from overdrive to distortion, which is a much harder, more aggressive form of signal clipping, changes the emotional register, the genre association, and the arrangement behavior of an AI-generated composition. Okay, here are the exact experiment settings. The genre is hard rock and alternative rock. The BPM is 88, giving us a mid-tempo, driving controlled aggression. The key is E minor, so it's dark, powerful, and resonant. For the structure, we're going intro, verse, hook, interlude, bridge, hook, and outro. The vocal is male, whispered, mid-low, spoken-like, with absolutely no high notes. And the variables specified are distortion electric guitar, high gain, hard clipping, and a tight aggressive tone. I am so ridiculously excited to see what this does to the track. Section, direction, and sonic context. So, distortion sits right above crunch and overdrive in the electric guitar gain hierarchy. It is harder, tighter, and way more aggressively clipped than either of those.
Here's how they compare. Where overdrive produces even-order harmonics that actually warm and soften the signal, and crunch produces a mix of harmonics that add grit and physical weight, distortion produces hard clipping. This means the signal waveform is cut off at a defined ceiling, which creates a flat-topped wave that is incredibly dense with odd-order harmonics. It's tonally aggressive in a way that overdrive and crunch simply are not. The defining characteristic of distortion compared to those softer tones is precision. Overdrive blooms and breathes, crunch bites and pushes, but distortion cuts. It's all about hard clipping. Each note arrives with a sharp, defined attack that doesn't soften or compress the way overdrive does, and it definitely doesn't push the way crunch does. You see, distortion is all about controlled aggression. The gain is high, the clipping is hard, but the note definition remains totally intact. And this is exactly what separates distortion from fuzz. Fuzz practically eliminates the attack entirely, compressing the signal into the sustained bloom. Distortion, on the other hand, retains the attack while maximizing harmonic saturation, so notes arrive precisely and sustain aggressively.
Now, in AI music generation, distortion carries a really clear and consistent genre signature. We're talking hard rock, heavy metal, alternative rock, and the post-grunge tradition, where a high-gain electric guitar defines the entire sonic identity of the arrangement. Using E minor at 88 BPM places this experiment in the absolute perfect emotional and physical register for distortion's character. It's dark enough to give the high-gain tone room to breathe, but fast enough to feel driven without becoming overly aggressive in the way a higher BPM would demand. Moving on to the distortion guitar instrument profile. Distortion in the electric guitar context refers specifically to hard clipping. This is a form of signal processing where the amplitude of the guitar signal is limited at a defined threshold, causing the peaks of the waveform to be cut off rather than compressed. This hard clipping produces a waveform that is flat-topped rather than rounded, and a tone that is super dense with odd-order harmonics. Those are the harmonics that produce grit, edge, and aggression rather than warmth. The distinction between distortion and overdrive is both technical and perceptual. Overdrive produces soft clipping. The signal approaches the threshold gradually, and the resulting waveform retains a rounded shape that preserves the instrument's natural dynamic feel. But distortion produces hard clipping. The signal hits the threshold and just stops, creating a flat ceiling above which no dynamic information passes. The result is a tone that is louder seeming, way more aggressive, and more harmonically dense than overdrive, possessing a tightness and precision that overdrive's compressed softness just cannot provide. I absolutely love this next part. The most significant distortion pedals in popular music history include the Proco Rat, the Boss DS1, and the MXR Distortion Plus. The Rat in particular, which is used by guitarists across alternative rock, post-punk, and indie rock, produces a hard-clipping distortion with a characteristic mid-range presence. It has a tightness that allows note definition to be retained even at super high gain settings. Then there's the Boss DS1, which was famously used by Kurt Cobain, and it remains one of the most widely recognized distortion tones in all of popular music. In AI music generation, specifying distortion rather than overdrive or crunch shifts the AI's genre and arrangement associations firmly toward the rock tradition.
It makes it harder, more aggressive, and far more physically present than warmer tones like crunch or overdrive.
Instrument selection rationale. Distortion represents the exact point at which the electric guitar tone crosses from warmth into aggression. It's the threshold between the folk rock and singer-songwriter traditions associated with overdrive and crunch, and the hard rock and alternative traditions associated with high-gain tones. Clean, crunch, and overdrive each occupy a territory where the guitar can function as a warm, supportive element in an arrangement.
But here is the absolutely crucial point. Distortion moves the guitar into a totally different role. It becomes the defining sonic element of the arrangement, literally the element around which everything else is built. This shift in role, moving from support to definition, is one of the most important observations about AI arrangement, and distortion is the tone that most clearly marks the boundary between those two functions.
Listening notes. When you listen to this, listen first for the attack. With overdrive, notes arrive softly, compressed by tube saturation. But with distortion, notes arrive with a sharp, defined precision. That hard clipping that defines distortion gives each note a clear onset that overdrive's soft clipping simply removes. You also want to listen for what distortion does to the relationship between the guitar and the other arrangement elements. Where overdrive wrapped around the vocal and the rhythm section, distortion pushes forward. The high-gain tone occupies the front of the mix in a way that warmer tones do not. The rhythm section in this experiment does not sit around the guitar, it sits behind it. Listening notes and results. This brilliantly illustrates what happens when we actually run the prompt. The AI's response to the distortion specification produced an incredibly physically forward and arrangement-dominant result. The guitar occupied the front of the mix from the very first note of the intro, not as a textural or supportive element, but as the primary sonic identity of the entire arrangement. The rhythm section was present and grounded, but clearly subordinate to the guitar in both volume and tonal presence. Wow, listen to this finding. The vocal actually sat behind the guitar rather than in front of or alongside it, completely reversing the relationship established by softer tones. The most significant finding here is the way distortion changes the AI's understanding of arrangement hierarchy. With softer tones, the vocal was the primary element and the guitar was a supporting one. In the distortion experiment, the AI reversed this hierarchy. It demonstrated that the AI associates high-gain distortion not merely with a tone, but with a specific arrangement philosophy where the electric guitar is the dominant element and the vocal exists within the guitar's sonic space rather than above it. Cultural reference tracks. The distortion electric guitar defines the sonic identity of hard rock and alternative rock across several decades of recorded popular music. Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit, which was Kurt Cobain's Boss DS1 into a Mesa Boogie amplifier, remains the most culturally significant distortion guitar recording of the 1990s. It perfectly demonstrates how high-gain distortion can define the entire emotional character of an arrangement. For the specific quality of tight, precise distortion in a mid-tempo minor key context, Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun demonstrates distortion used as a textural and atmospheric element rather than an aggressive one. The high gain produces density and weight without physical aggression. Then, Alice in Chains' Rooster demonstrates distortion in a slow, brooding arrangement. The high-gain tone creates heaviness at a tempo and dynamic level that removes the physical aggression, typically associated with distortion, replacing it with incredible weight and darkness. And for the contemporary application of controlled, high-gain distortion in an alternative rock context, Radiohead's early recordings, particularly the guitar work on The Bends, demonstrate how distortion can be used to add emotional intensity without sonic aggression. So when you prompt for distortion, you aren't just changing a guitar pedal. You are completely rewriting the AI's power dynamic, forcing everything else to bow down to the guitar. Will distortion redefine your next track or overpower it? You absolutely have to hear how this AI track turned out with these exact parameters. Listen to the full song right now through the link provided. And please, hit that subscribe button for more AI Music Lab results. See you next time.
Carrying something heavy since the day I let it slide. Told myself it wasn't serious, just a crack I'd leave inside. Now the walls are showing something I kept painting over white, and the weight of what I didn't fix then finds me every single night. This is the weight of it, the thing I never named, the price of walking past it is always the same. I didn't break it all at once, it went piece by carrying it was easier than setting it down and seeing what's there. Maybe I kept moving forward because stopping felt too much like a prayer.